It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack Podcast. You know, on Saturdays, we play fun music and we feature great information at 993thevine.com with me, Big Rick Stewart, and music from my time at Live 105 and at KFOG. We also mix in some stories that I find kind of interesting, whether it's local music or food or tech or just kind of some cool things I think you ought to know about. It's always lots of fun. Fun music and great information happens every Saturday at 993thevine.com. And the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack Podcast features great information like this. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack, fun music and great information. I'm Big Rick Stewart. I love hanging out with you on these Saturdays and playing music from my times at Live 105 and at KFOG and just current songs and more. We lost one of the greats in the world of music. I mean, one of the founding members of rock and jazz fusion and blues guitar playing. Jeff Beck passed away earlier this week. A huge loss. I was a huge fan. Now, Jeff Beck got his start with playing with Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. What a band, right? That was back in the days of the Yardbirds. But then he quickly moved on. I think Jeff Beck would just get kind of bored with doing some things. He didn't want to play the same songs for 30, 40 years. He did so many different things. And he kind of combined that jazz improv thing with playing some amazing guitar. I saw a show once on a beautiful, warm night at Canocti up in Lake County. Jeff Beck and his trio opened for B.B. King. Yeah, how about that? And there were so many guitar player freaks in the crowd that loved Jeff Beck. Next to me was a guy with binoculars and a guy with a notepad. The guy in the binoculars was narrating the fingering Jeff Beck was doing on the fretboard, and the guy with the notepad was writing it down. I mean, they were crazy about it. I always loved his style. He had a nice touch. He loved hot rods so much that he actually built hot rods. I mean, he had the welder and the grinders and everything. He just paid somebody to build him a fancy hot rod. Cool guy. Hey, it's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information. I'm Big Rick Stewart. I love music. Love hanging out here playing music for you from my Live 105 and KFOG days. I got to tell you now, I'm a big video game fan. Now, I don't do the interactive headset video game. You know what I do? I pop in a video game in my PlayStation and I play maybe like some FIFA or something, and then I just get tired and I go to bed. That's how I play video games. But I really enjoy it. There are some amazing video games coming out in 2023. A lot of the programming and a lot of the video games are kind of on hold because of the pandemic, even though a lot of us were playing video games during the pandemic because we couldn't go anywhere. There are some names I'm going to mention that you're going to say, what? They're still making those games? Are you ready? So these are new versions of games like Legend of Zelda. There's a new version coming out. What? Diablo is still around. Final Fantasy is up to version 16. I don't think I ever finished any of the other ones. I probably will get that one. I probably won't ever finish it either. There's all kinds of other versions of games that are coming out. There'll be a Marvel Spider-Man 2 video game that'll be out in 2023, and just lots of fun things. Also a Harry Potter-based video game and more. So it'll be a big year for video gamers. Those PlayStation 5s are evidently more available now, although, what is it, $500-$600 or something like that? I don't know. I'm sticking with my PS4 for now. Gotta save my pennies. I'm Big Rick Stewart. Maybe I'll meet you out in the video game world somewhere. Tell me how your Zelda's going. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack at 993thevine.com. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information here at 993thevine.com. You start at 8 a.m. bright and early. Got to have a cup of coffee for that. And we go all afternoon. And, well, you can have a cup of coffee in the afternoon as well, especially on the weekends. Just ask Bob St. Laurent. He's a big coffee believer. This might change Bob's coffee drinking habits, and maybe yours as well. If you're looking for the biggest punch from that cup of coffee, what would it be? Espresso? Guess what? Not. There's this coffee roaster guy. I saw this story at lifehacker.com, and he got some super incredible, expensive gizmo testing machine, and he tested all these coffees to see which one had the biggest kick, which one had the most caffeine. Okay, an average cup of coffee has, they say, between 63 and 125 milligrams of caffeine in it. Ready? The number one, by far and away, winner for the most caffeine in a cup of coffee goes to making coffee with the pour-over method. You know, put the coffee in a little filter and you just kind of pour over hot water. I guess maybe it takes longer and it extracts more caffeine. I don't know. 180 milligrams of caffeine, about a 50% jump if you use pour-over. All right. I use pour-over a lot. And I have this thing, OXO, O-X-O. You seen that brand? They have this little pour-over thing, makes one really good cup of coffee. It's really easy. You put in the coffee in the filter and you put this little cup on top of it, and it has little holes drilled in that simulate, you know, moving around the little thing with the hot water. All right. So there you go. Pour over, get you the biggest kick from your coffee. You may or may not want to go down that route. I don't know. It's all up to you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Coffee or decaf, it's your call. The Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information at 993thevine.com. Hey, vinyl album sales have skyrocketed. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information. If you're buying vinyl albums, well, you know, you're not the only one. First, a couple of little definitions here. A vinyl album is specifically, you know, a vinyl album, an LP, you might want to call it. But an album could be anything, like a photo album. It's a collection of artistic work or a collection of, I guess, kind of anything. All right, so what's the deal with vinyl? Vinyl album sales grew by 46.7% in the week ending December 22nd compared with the previous week. It was all powered by holiday gift shopping. By the way, the top-selling vinyl album of the week was Taylor Swift's Midnight. Did you get that one? I don't know. I didn't get that one. Maybe I'll have to go back to the store. All right, so this is from Billboard magazine. They say weekly U.S. vinyl album sales break modern era record, you know, not from back in the day. More than 2.2 million vinyl albums were sold in the week ending December 22nd. It's the largest week for the format since they started keeping track back in 1991. Wow. And I mean, I'm seeing vinyl releases, you know, at all kinds of places. We have a really cool record store here in Napa you ought to check out. They got some new and some previously enjoyed albums on the vinyl format and more. Year-to-date, vinyl album sales stand at 41.891 million. It's up 3.6% compared with the same point in 2021. And you know what? I just set up a brand new turntable, so I'm in the mix as well. Just thought I'd let you know. Enjoy your vinyl. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information right here at 993thevine.com. Hey, I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Fun music and great information. I could talk about rain and all that. You want me to? No. Come on. We're here to take a break from all that. At least a little bit. A little teeny tiny break with just some fun music. And I can tell you about the archive tracks you're hearing. You're hearing some of these really cool versions of songs that you know and artists that you know, and there's applause maybe after the song, and it sounds like it's a live recording. It is, because from my personal collection and some other sources, we are now playing some of the KFOG archive tracks. That was part of a series of CDs that was released every year. Very exclusive, super limited edition. They weren't just, you know, making them forever and ever and ever. And we have them for you on the radio. So some of the more rockin' tunes you'll hear on Saturdays, and some of the more acoustic tracks you'll hear tomorrow on Napa Brunch Vibes. I'll get you a little insight onto these. And when I was at KFOG, it was super popular. People collected them, and we would do autograph signings and things like that. And it was really great meeting all the fog heads that would come out for the release day for the archive CDs. Some artists are really into it, and they were kind of like, okay, yeah, you know, whatever, man, that version of that song was really good. We would always get approval from the artist, of course, and send out a recording truck. I mean, super high-end recording truck to record the gigs that we were going to use for these shows. And then together with the artists, we picked some of these songs. Some of the artists are really particular. I remember Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. He was really particular. He wanted it to sound exactly like this. And we had to kind of say, Mark, it sounds great. Don't worry about it. And we would always help donate money from the sales to Bay Area food banks. So if you love the archive tracks, support some local food banks. And thanks for hanging out with me today. Listen for those archive tracks on the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Today and tomorrow and all week, all the time, here at 993thevine.com. Well, those are some stories that I have featured on the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Tune in at 8 a.m. every Saturday at 993thevine.com. I'm Big Rick Stewart here. Music from my days at Live 105 and KFOG, some current songs, lots of surprises and more. It's always lots of fun. We have a 10 at 10, a Beatles brunch at noon. It happens all day. The Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack and